Trees, Part 2. Hello friends, welcome back to our session on trees. In today's session, we will continue with the discussion on trees. We will focus on the spanning trees and minimum spanning trees today. Before going to the new topics, let us review the topics which we have covered in the last session. Trees have a number of special properties as follows. It is obvious from the constructive process of building all possible trees step by step from the simplest tree, one vertex and no edges, that a tree with n vertices has exactly n-1 edges. When a new vertex and edge is added to a tree, no cycle is created, since the new edge joins an existing vertex to a new vertex and the tree remains connected. There is exactly one path from any vertex in a tree to any other vertex. If there were two or more paths between any two vertices, then the two paths would form a cycle and the graph would not be a tree. Because there is exactly one path between any two vertices, then there is one edge joining any two edges and vertices. If this edge is removed, the graph is no longer connected and so it is not a tree. So, the removal of any edge from a tree disconnects the graph. Since there is a path between any two vertices, if an edge is added to the tree joining two existing vertices, then a cycle is formed comprising the existing path between the two vertices together with the new edge. All these properties can be used to define a tree. Now, let us come to the new topic. Spanning trees. Definition 1. Let G be a simple graph. A spanning tree of G is a subgraph of G, that is a tree containing every vertex of G. Large and complex graphs may have many spanning trees. The figure shows the complete graph K5 and several possible spanning trees. A spanning tree may be found by the building up method or the cutting down method. The building up algorithm is: select edges of the graph one by one in such a way that no cycles are created, repeating until all the vertices are included. And the cutting down method is: choose any cycle in the graph and remove one of its edges, repeating until no cycles remain. Example 1. Find a spanning tree of the simple graph G shown in the figure. Solution. The graph G is connected, but it is not a tree because it contains symbol circuits. First, remove the edge AE. This eliminates one simple circuit and the resulting subgraph is still connected and contains every vertex of G. Next, remove the edge EB to eliminate the second simple circuit. Finally, remove edge CG to produce a simple graph with no simple circuits. This subgraph is a spanning tree because it is a tree that contains every vertex of G, which is given in this figure. Theorem 1. A simple graph is connected if and only if it has a spanning tree. Proof. First, suppose that a simple graph G has a spanning tree T. T contains every vertex of G. Also, there is a path in T between any two of its vertices. Because T is a subgraph of G, there is a path in G between any two of its vertices. Hence, G is connected. Conversely, suppose that G is connected. If G is not a tree, it must contain a simple circuit. Remove an edge from one of the simple circuits. The resulting subgraph has one fewer edge but still contains all the vertices of G and it is connected. This subgraph is still connected because when two vertices are connected by a path containing the removed edge, they are connected by a path not containing this edge. We can construct such a path by inserting into the original path at the point where the removed edge once was, the simple circuit with this edge removed. If this subgraph is not a tree, it has a simple circuit. So, as before, remove an edge that is in a simple circuit. Repeat this process until no simple circuit remain. This is possible because there are only a finite number of edges in the graph. The process terminates when no simple circuit remains. A tree is produced because the graph stays connected as edges are removed. This tree is a spanning tree because it contains every vertex of G. This completes the proof. Spanning trees are important in data networking. Example 2, IP multicasting. Spanning trees plays an important role in multicasting over Internet protocol networks. With IP multicasting, a computer sends a single copy of data over the network, and as data reaches intermediate routes, the data are forwarded to one or more other routers, so that ultimately all receiving computers in their various subnetworks receive these data. For data to reach receiving computers as quickly as possible, there should be no loops in the path that data take through the network. That is, once data have reached a particular router, data should never return to this router. To avoid loops, the multicast routers use network algorithms to construct a spanning tree in the graph that has the multicast source, the routers, and the subnetworks containing receiving computers as vertices, with edges representing the links between computers and or routers. The root of this spanning tree is a multicast source. The subnetworks containing receiving computers are leaves of the tree. Definition 2. In many applications of symmetric connected relations, the undirected graph of the relation models a situation in which the edges as well as the vertices carry information. A weighted graph is a graph for which each edge is labeled with a numerical value called its weight. Minimum spanning trees. The figure shows a number of possible spanning trees for the graph shown. The first two are having a total weight of 20 and the third one is having a total weight of 24. Definition 2. A minimum spanning tree in a connected weighted graph is a spanning tree that has the smallest possible sum of the weights of its edges. Where do we apply the concept of minimum spanning trees? The standard application is to a problem like phone network design. For example, you have a business with several offices. You want to lease phone lines to connect them up with each other, and the phone company charges different amounts of money to connect different pairs of cities. You want a set of lines that connects all your offices with a minimal total cost. It should be a spanning tree, since if a network isn't a tree, you can always remove some edges and save money. A less obvious application is that the minimum spanning tree can be used to approximately solve the traveling salesman problem, which we have come across in the chapter on graphs. A convenient formal way of defining this problem is to find the shortest path that visits each point at least once. Note that if you have a path visiting all points exactly once, it is a special kind of tree. If you have a path visiting some vertices more than once, you can always drop some edges to get a tree. So, in general, the minimum spanning tree weight is less than the traveling salesman problem weight because it is a minimization over a strictly larger set. Algorithms for finding minimum spanning trees. Let us see two algorithms for constructing minimum spanning trees. Both proceed by successively adding edges of smallest weight from those edges with a specified property that have not already been used. Both are greedy algorithms that produce optimal solutions. The first algorithm that we will discuss was given by Robert Prim in 1957. To carry out Prim's algorithm, begin by choosing an edge with smallest weight, putting it into the spanning tree. Successively add to the tree edges of minimum weight that are incident to a vertex already in the tree and not forming a simple circuit with those edges already in the tree. Stop when n-1 edges have been added. The choice of an edge to add at a stage of the algorithm is not determined when there is more than one edge with the same weight that satisfies the appropriate criteria. We need to order the edges to make the choices deterministic. Theorem 2. Prim's algorithm produces a minimum spanning tree for every connected weighted graph. Let G be a connected weighted graph. Suppose that the successive edges chosen by Prim's algorithm are E1, E2, etc. En minus 1. Let S be the tree with E1, E2, etc. En minus 1 as its edges, and let Sk be the tree with E1, E2, etc. Ek as its edges. Let T be a minimum spanning tree of G containing the edges E1, E2, etc. Ek, where k is the maximum integer with the property that a minimum spanning tree exists, containing the first k edges chosen by Prim's algorithm. The theorem follows if we can show that S is equal to T. Suppose that S is not equal to T, so that k is less than n minus 1. Consequently, T contains E1, E2, etc. Ek, but not Ek plus 1. Consider the graph made up of T together with Ek plus 1. Because this graph is connected and has n edges, too many edges to be a tree, it must contain a simple circuit. This simple circuit must contain Ek plus 1 because there was no simple circuit in T. Furthermore, there must be an edge in the simple circuit that does not belong to Sk plus 1 because Sk plus 1 is a tree. By starting at an endpoint of Ek plus 1, that is also an endpoint of one of the edges E1, E2, etc. Ek, and following the circuit until it reaches an edge not in Sk plus 1, we can find an edge E not in Sk plus 1 that has an endpoint that is also an endpoint of one of the edges E1, E2, etc. Ek. By deleting E from T and adding Ek plus 1, we obtain a tree T dash with n minus 1 edges. It is a tree because it has no simple circuits. Note that the tree T dash contains E1, E2, etc. Ek plus 1. Furthermore, because Ek plus 1 was chosen by Prim's algorithm at the k plus 1th step and E was also available at that step, the weight of Ek plus 1 is less than or equal to the weight of E. From this observation, it follows that T dash is also a minimum spanning tree, because the sum of the weights of its edges does not exceed the sum of the weights of the edges of T. This contradicts the choice of k as the maximum integer such that a minimum spanning tree exists containing E1, E2, etc. Ek. Hence, k is equal to n minus 1 and S is equal to T. It follows that Prim's algorithm produces a minimum spanning tree. Let us consider an example now. To construct a minimum spanning tree for the graph in the figure using Prim's algorithm, we proceed like this. Choose vertex A to start. Minimum weight edge is AE, that is of weight 2. Minimum weight edge from AE to new vertex is AC with weight 4. Minimum weight edge from ACE to new vertex is CB with weight 5, and minimum weight edge from ABCE to new vertex is ED with weight 7. All vertices now connected. We can see that the total weight is 18. Of course, the choice of the vertex A as starting vertex is arbitrary. Let us see what happens if we start somewhere else. Choose vertex B to start. Minimum weight edge is BC with weight 5. Minimum weight edge from BC to new vertex is CA or CE, both with weight 4. Choose CE. Minimum weight edge from BCE to new vertex is EA with weight 2. Minimum weight edge from ABCE to new vertex is ED with weight 7. All vertices now connected. The total weight in this case is also 18. In this case, we see that we get a different minimum spanning tree if we had chosen CA instead of CE at stage 2. We would have got the same minimum spanning tree as previously. This is because in this graph there is more than one minimum spanning tree. Let us see one more example. Example 4. Use Prim's algorithm to design a minimum cost communication network connecting all the computers represented in the figure shown. The figure shows a weighted graph showing monthly lease costs for lines in a computer network. The solution for this problem is, first we choose an edge with minimum weight, that is from Chicago to Atlanta with cost of $700. Now find the edge incident at either Chicago or Atlanta which is having smallest weight, that is the edge Atlanta, New York with cost of $800. Next we have the edge Chicago to San Francisco with cost of $1,200. Next choose the edge San Francisco to Denver with cost of $900. A minimum spanning tree is given in the figure. The figure shows a minimum spanning tree using Prim's algorithm, and the total cost is the sum of all these weights, which gives $3,600. The second algorithm we will discuss was discovered by Joseph Kruskal in 1956. To carry out Kruskal's algorithm, choose an edge in the graph with minimum weight. Successively add edges with minimum weight that do not form a simple circuit with those edges already chosen. Stop after n-1 edges have been selected. Theorem 3. Kruskal's algorithm produces a minimum spanning tree for every connected weighted graph. The proof is similar to the Prim's algorithm, which we have already discussed. To construct a minimum spanning tree for the graph of figure shown, we proceed like this. The weights are 2 for the edge AE, 4 for the edges AC and CE, 5 for edges BC and AB and BE, and 7 for the edge DE, 8 for the edges AD and BD, and 9 for CD. So, the steps of Kruskal's algorithm will give the following: choose AE, then choose AC, reject CE, which would form cycle ACEA. So, choose BC, reject AB, which would form a cycle ACBA, and reject BE, which would form a cycle ACBEA. Choose DE. All vertices are now connected, and the total weight is 18. Although in this example, the subgraph constructed was a connected subgraph, at each stage this isn't necessarily the case. For instance, suppose edge BC had weight 3 instead of 5. Now the weights are 2 for AE, 3 for edge BC, 4 for edges AC and CE, 6 for AB and BE, 7 for edge DE, 8 for AD and BD, and 9 for the edge CD. So, the steps of Kruskal's algorithm will be like this: choose AE, then BC, and choose AZ. Reject CE, which would form a cycle. Also reject AB and reject BE. Choose DE. All the vertices are now connected, and the total weight is 16. We will see one more example. Example 5. Use Kruskal's algorithm to find a minimum spanning tree for the weighted graph in the figure given. Solution. First of all, we choose the edge with minimum weight, that is the edge EF. Next, we choose AD or HI, which is of the smallest weight, that is 2, after the edge EF. So, now we have edges EF, AD and HI. We have to choose the edges in such a way that they do not form a simple circuit with the edges already chosen. Next, we choose BD and then CF, then EH, which are of weight 3. Next, we choose BC and then GH, which are of weight 4. The minimum spanning tree is given in the figure. This figure shows a minimum spanning tree of figure 9 using Kruskal's algorithm. The difference between Prim's and Kruskal's algorithm. In Prim's algorithm, edges of minimum weight that are incident to a vertex already in the tree and not forming a circuit are chosen. Whereas, in Kruskal's algorithm, edges of minimum weight that are not necessarily incident to a vertex already in the tree and that do not form a circuit are chosen. In Prim's algorithm, if the edges are not ordered, there may be more than one choice for the edge to add at a stage of this procedure. Consequently, the edges need to be ordered for the procedure to be deterministic. Now, let us summarize the contents of this session. The concept of spanning trees was introduced. 2 algorithms for finding the minimal spanning tree of a weighted graph were discussed. Also, examples were provided for a better understanding of the algorithms. A comparison between the 2 algorithms was done, and also seen some applications where the algorithms for finding minimal spanning trees are used. Here are some exercise problems to test your knowledge. First one, find a spanning tree for W5. Second one, for the graph G shown in the figure, find a minimal spanning tree using Prim's algorithm. Begin with the vertex E. Third problem, find a connected weighted simple graph with the fewest edges possible that has more than one minimum spanning tree. Fourth one, show that there is a unique minimum spanning tree in a connected weighted graph if the weight of the edges are all different. Fifth one, the distances between 8 cities are given in the table. Use Kruskal's algorithm to find a minimal spanning tree whose vertices are these cities. What is the total distance for the tree? Here are some books for further reading. First one, Discrete Mathematical Structures by Coleman, Busby and Rose by Prentice Hall, Upper Saddle River, New Jersey. Second one, Discrete Mathematics and its Applications, 6th edition by Kenneth H. Rosen by McGraw-Hill International Edition. Third one, Elements of Discrete Mathematics, 2nd edition by C. L. Liu by McGraw-Hill International Edition, Computer Science Series 1986. Fourth one, Discrete Mathematics by Richard Johnson Baugh by Pearson Prentice Hall in 2005. Fifth one, Introductory Discrete Mathematics by V.K. Balakrishnan in 1991. With this, we come to an end of the session on trees. We will meet with another topic on another episode another day. Till then, goodbye.